state of the cartridge address in 2024. The 6.5 Creedmoor, known by many names. The cartridge people love to hate and hate to love. The 6.5 Need More, some call it. The Creedizzle, like the Gen Zs say. I don't know if they really say that, I just made that up, but it sounds kind of fun. The Creedizzle. What is going on with the 6.5 Creedmoor? Now, I just got done from the professional gunfighting gig today in the city, and this city is so big it has a Shields, which if you have never been, it's kind of like a Disneyland for gun and outdoors people. And if you want to bring like a wife or something that's into the more yuppie type sports, they have that kind of stuff too. But I was kind of looking around, let's call it R&D for this job, kind of getting the state of things. And I made it a point to look at 6.5 Creedmoor versus other things like the 308, 270, to get an idea for this podcast. Now, the 6.5 Creedmoor. I stayed away from this cartridge for a while, and I still think of it as a new cartridge, but it's not, right? I think it came out in the aughts. Then I stayed away from it for the big reason that new, quote-unquote, game-changing cartridges come on the market all the time. Do you remember the Wisdom craze? The 7mm Winchester short mag, the 223 Winchester super short mag, the 243 Winchester super short mag, the did I say 7mm yet? The 270 Wisdom. The only one that kind of did okay was a 300 Wisdom, but you remember that whole craze? Do you remember the RUMs, the Remington Ultra Mag craze? Do you remember all these other cartridges? The 224 Valkyrie that was going to be a game changer that flopped. The 30 Super Carry game changer that flopped. I could go on and on and on about the new game changing cartridge that flopped. So when the 6.5 Creedmoor came out, I was like, footnote. But here's the thing. The 6.5 Creedmoor is like the only real cartridge that I can think of that has come out in the past 30 years that has taken over a giant share of the market. Period. Right? All the cartridges we think of as the mainstream cartridges. 9mm, 45 ACP, 380, 38 Special. Right? These all go back about 100 years. And there's some other ones that go back around 50 to 60 years. 308. 270 Winchester. These kind of cartridges, right? There hasn't been a lot that has come out. There's always the guys that are like fanboys or cheerleaders for their favorite cartridge. Like 270 Wisdom we aforementioned. That's a good cartridge. It's a niche, very tiny portion of the market. It's still there. People still load for it. Kind of like, 22 Hornet. It's a good cartridge. There's nothing wrong with the cartridge ballistically, but it failed to really have staying power. The 6.5 Creedmoor proved me wrong. It has staying power. And years after, after a decade, I think, after it got introduced, I was like, okay, this cartridge is here to stay. And I got it, not for the reason a lot of people jumped on the 6.5 Creedmoor bandwagon. Ooh, I gotta have my uber high BC to slay beasts at 1,000 meters in the wind. That's not me. I was into the whole long-range shooting craze, like the last generation of it, before really good rangefinders were affordable to the common man. I was into the long-range shooting thing, and I got away from it because I did all that training and stuff, and I moved out west, and I was out west, and I thought, I'm going to do this super long-range shooting stuff, and I finally got up and got an antelope, and I took my antelope at like 150 yards, and I realized I don't like hunting with the super long-range stuff. If I can't get within 200, 300 yards of my quarry, which is easy to do, and point-blank range for most modern bottleneck cartridges, whatever. I would rather do the spot and stalk and still hunt thing and be light and mobile. That's just me. However you want to put meat in the freezer is on you. So that said, that's not even why I like the 6.5 Creedmoor. It is good at that. Better than... It's, I think, the first of the latest generation of cartridges. It started that whole revolution. It wasn't the first cartridge to do it, mind you, just like Glock was not the first striker-fired handgun. It wasn't the first polymer handgun. Glock was the first really mass popular takeover of the market polymer striker-fired handgun. The 6.5 Creedmoor was the first of the generation of cartridges with sleek, high BC bullets, like match-grade cut chambers, match-grade accuracy. It was kind of the first of that generation of highly efficient bullets. If you don't know, based on the 30 Thompson Center case, which another one of the cartridges that was good that flopped, but the 30 Thompson Center, it was neck down to the 6.5 Creedmoor. Really didn't do anything for me better than the old 260 Remington, but the 260 Remington was never crazy popular. The 6.5 Creedmoor is. It's a main staple of cartridge shelves now. I was just in Scheels, and there was, I don't know about as much, but almost as much 6.5 Creedmoor as there was 308. And 308 is probably the most popular full-powered rifle cartridge. 6.5 Creed in 2024 is here to stay. I still think for the best all-around full-powered rifle cartridge for preparedness for survival, that it probably still goes to the 308 because there's a lot more tactical semi-auto rifles chambered in it. There's a lot more like bulk opportunities to buy bulk massive ammo and surplus ammo. It's still a NATO cartridge and all that stuff. Marginally, though, I'm talking marginally. I'm going to tell you right now that I think on paper and ballistically, the 6.5 Creedmoor spanks the 308, unless you're talking about certain niche applications, like really heavy for caliber bullets, like 180 grains. And now, you'd have to listen to the episode when I did one called a guides rifle. My go-to guiding rifle is a 6.5 Creedmoor, Kimber Adirondack. Not one of these super long-range guns. It's a super lightweight mountain rifle. And I like the 6.5 Creedmoor for that because it has less perceived recoil in general than the 308. And it's a super lightweight rifle. I'm talking it weighs 4 pounds and something ounces, naked. It's a light rifle. That's why one of the reasons I like the 6.5 Creedmoor, that rifle kind of helped me fall in love with that cartridge. Unless you're talking about heavy bullets, which if you're talking about that, you might as well go to the 30-06. The 30-06 will bring you up to 220 grain bullets. But for your general bullet weight range, I think ballistically, 6.5 Creedmoor spanks the 308. It's a more efficient cartridge, and I like efficiency. For a given, now, when I was guiding, the heaviest bullets I could see factory loaded for the 6.5 Creedmoor were like 150-something grain burger bullets. And, obviously you can get heavier than that with the 308. However, the similar weight bullet range, you're going to have higher, not just ballistics coefficient, which I could really care less about inside of 300 yards, but you also have higher sectional density, which can make a difference if you're talking about similar bullet construction. I don't even like the heavier for caliber bullets. I like for my lightweight mountain rifles for the kind of guiding and hunting I do on domestic and exotic game. I like really 125 grain Winchester X points. I've slain a lot of beasts with those, and they drop them like a sack of radioactive hot potatoes. So I don't even need heavy caliber for bullets, even for big-bodied game with proper bullet placement. So I like the 6.5 Creedmoor. I think ballistically, for most people, for most things, it's probably better than 308. That said, for an all-around survival caliber, I still think in 2024, by a thin margin, 308's a better choice. Not ballistically, I'm just saying because of market share, because of, economy of scale, because of availability of not just the ammo, but the different rifles that are chambered in it, all manner of different things. I think the edge still kind of goes to the 308, but again, marginally so. And that may flip-flop, right? It may go to the marginal edge going to, and I don't see the future, I don't know the future, but I would not be surprised if that edge went to the 6.5 Creedmoor in the near future. Whether it will or not, I don't know. It's pretty much staying steady in a giant share of the market. Whether it waxes or wanes a little bit in the future, I don't know. But it's still a giant share of the market, where something that it's not just about ballistics, because you might say ballistically the 6.5 PRC is better, but only if you're talking about a very niche arena. For the average shooter, the 6.5 will get most things done, and then it will get it done with less recoil, and it will get it done with a lot more availability of ammo and a lot more rifles chambered in it, and so on. The 6.5 Creedmoor is a solid choice in 2024. It's not a niche cartridge, it's a mainstream cartridge. You could go to, a decent sized gun store and have probably a lot of different options in ammo selection. Solid coppers, stuff tailored for deer size game, stuff tailored for more bigger bodied game, just straight up target and affordable practice ammunition. It's a good, solid choice in 2024. The 6.5 Creedmoor is probably, again, the only cartridge to come out in the last 30 years that has taken over a giant share of the market. Again, almost as much ammo selection at the big box store that I was at as 308, and that says something, right? Because 308 was a mass NATO issued cartridge. I know some niche units in the military and stuff have used 6.5 Creedmoor. I believe that's true, but nowhere near to the extent of 308. I mean, we have medium machine guns chambered in 308 that have been for a long time. For a cartridge to come along in the past 30 years and to take over like a 6.5 Creedmoor has and shove other cartridges out of the way, that says something about it. It's a beautiful cartridge. It's beautiful in efficiency. It's beautiful in the what it delivers for the amount of recoil. It's beautiful in its engineering. It's a well-engineered, well-thought-out cartridge. And you really have to have that today, I think, to kind of have the same kind of staying power and really take over the market like the 6.5 Creedmoor has. All the other mainstream cartridges, all 6, 308, 270, 243, they've been around a lot longer. So it says something about the 6.5 Creedmoor that it has taken over so well, and it has stayed. Now, again, whether it will wax or wane in the future, I don't know. But even if it wanes slightly, it's still going to be a giant portion of the market. So 6.5 Creedmoor, it's a good solid choice in 2024. There's a lot of good rifles chambered in it. There's a lot, even now, of good semi-auto rifles chambered in it. Not as many as 308, but it's, again, I still think 308 is your better choice for all-around survival, preparedness, do-it-all kind of short-action cartridge. But 6.5 Creedmoor, again, it's not a wide margin. So, and if you're looking for the attributes that the 6.5 Creedmoor offers, even if it's not the super long-range stuff, less recoil for a given weight rifle, higher sectional density, very efficient, those kind of things. The 6.5 Creedmoor is worth a look. Does a 6.5 Creedmoor kill deer any better than a 308? No. Am I saying you should sell your 308 or your 270 and get a 6.5 Creedmoor? No. But I'm saying if you're looking and you don't have any, the 6.5 Creedmoor will kill deer solidly, and it'll probably do it with less recoil in a given similar weighted rifle. And it's got a lot even more ammo availability than all but 308, I think, in most places. So, again, it's a solid choice to look at. And I guess, without going around in circles, that's how I'm going to wrap up this episode, State of this cartridge, State of the 6.5 Creedmoor in 2024. I'm not sponsored. I refuse sponsors on this show, but I'm going to give you 2 real quick, actually maybe 3, but if you want me to recommend a good do-it-all survival, like both defense and hunting rifle in 6.5 Creedmoor, it's going to be, no surprise, the Scar. It's going to be a Scar in 6.5 Creedmoor, which they make. And if you're asking for a purely really good hunting rifle, it's going to be a Kimber, whatever you want, Kimber Hunter, Kimber, Kimber makes a lot of really good rifles. I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of their 1911s or their handguns. I think they're mostly showy, but I'm a big fan of the Kimber rifles because they're basically a shrunk down modern metallurgy stainless steel. At least the ones I like are stainless steel Winchester Pre-64 Model 70 action, which is my favorite action. So, a Kimber Hunter, a Kimber, mountain kind of rifle in 6.5 Creedmoor would be my number one choice for a pure hunting rifle. And one other one that I will mention, although I really like the Ruger, I don't think they currently make a scout rifle in 6.5 Creedmoor, but if you're looking for a scoutish type rifle, they do, I think, currently make a Steyr Scout in 6.5 Creedmoor. So, you might look at that one. With that, guys, tactical verse of the day. We know that all things work together for good to those who love God. No commentary needed. What a beautiful verse. Have a blessed day.